What's up, guys? We're here today in San Diego's cultural capital, Balboa Park. And the first thing that you got to go to if you come to Balboa Park is definitely the San Diego Zoo. Arguably the best zoo in America. It's got over 12,000 animals, and in 2018 it received over 4 million visitors, which is ridiculous. 12,000 animals. It's a huge zoo. They got a whole bunch of different fauna and flora. It's basically like a huge botanical garden. You gotta check it out. They have a giant ski lift gondola going all the way across the zoo, so you can get an aerial view of the whole thing. If that's what you're into. It's a great place to take your kids, have a nice family day at the zoo.
It's closed right now, but if you guys come out here with your family, there's actually this little train that you could take around, which little kids will obviously love, and there's a carousel right around the corner. So if you're looking for, you know, a little amusement before you go in the zoo, or right after, you know, blow off some steam with your kids, you got this train right here, and you got this carousel coming up right here. Probably the most iconic thing here, aside from the zoo, is the San Diego art museums. They have plenty of different types of art, so no matter what type you like, whether it's photography, modern art, or more traditional forms of art, you can come here and you can definitely experience it in the Balboa Park area. There's plenty of them, and they range all the way from free to I don't know how much money. I couldn't imagine it's more than $30, but don't quote me on that. Maybe we'll even have a little price thing pop up right now. But you can come here and you can see all these places, and a lot of them, like a lot of these art museums are actually just free. You can go in there, it'll cost you nothing, and you can experience what these people made for you guys to see. There's also a lot of dynamic art exhibits that they have out here, where they set up modern art and other types of art just sort of out on the lawn. And hopefully right now I'll be showing you some of that, but it always changes. So every time you come here, not necessarily every time depending on frequency, but you can definitely come out here and have a different art experience every time. For all you art lovers out there, this is definitely going to be the place for you. Every one of these is a tiny little boutique for art, where they could either do stuff like teach you arts and crafts, teach you how to do pottery, or they sell from local artists. You can come around, look into each and every one of them. They're all open right now. So, like right here, we'll go in the Sculptors Guild. We'll see what the sculptors have been getting up to, huh? Yeah, this is actually really impressive. I don't think I've ever personally walked back here into the Sculptors Guild, but I'm definitely impressed by what I see. Like, these are all pretty nice, especially thinking that, like, you know, it's just local people, obviously local artists, that put these all together. I wonder what this one's supposed to mean.
Now he's gone. He's gone. Oh, Lord, he's gone.
Another thing you can see when you come to Balboa Park is when you're walking along this main drag, there's a lot of different street performers. You can get everything from, you know, churros to elote. They have fruteros out here, people just selling fruit. I've seen them have different trucks. Like, they've had, depending on the event, they might have Polish food. I've had Polish food. But they also hold different, if something significant happens, like for example, this is a sad one, but when the Christchurch shooting happened, they had a candlelight vigil here. So they had a lot of Muslim speakers and different faith speakers come and talk to people, and they did the evening prayer. So it's definitely a very important area. You can see a lot of different things. They'll usually always have booths on the weekend where you can see different religions, and they'll talk to you about their religions. Everybody from like Hare Krishnas to Muslims to different types of Christian. Even the atheists have a booth most of the time.
Good. Well, thank you.
Over at the amphitheater, they do free organ concerts on weekends, so you can go check that out. A lot of people do like quinceañera photos at the amphitheater because it's really grand looking. It looks beautiful. I've actually never even been in this area. I didn't know about it. Lane actually just told me, but they have the Globe Theater where they do like theater productions based off of the Shakespeare's Globe Theater. So they have like the old Globe right here, and then they have this Globe Theater right here.
And actually, during holiday nights, is I believe what it's called, you can come out here to the park and they will usually open it up the inside and they'll give you a free tour. Just got to show up and they'll take you right through it. You can see the inside and they'll even set up little Christmas stuff. So one of the things you definitely want to check out when you come to Balboa Park is there's lots of gardens everywhere. And it's not just ones that you have to necessarily pay to get into. Behind us, there's a botanical garden that's actually completely free. You can go in there, walk around. It's not exactly huge, but it is definitely something to see when you get here. Across from the zoo, they actually have a cactus garden. So maybe you don't want to take your kids if they're a little too young, but generally I'd say it's a pretty nice place to go, and it actually has like a little hiking trail that you can go down a hill with it. There's also a Japanese garden that's been here for a really long time. I don't want to put an exact date on it, but I think they built it in like the 40s. And it's incredibly beautiful. It's kind of stylized, obviously, like Japan. They've got a lot of Japanese plants down there. They have Buddhist statues. They have lanterns made of stone. And they actually have a really cool thing where it's like a scavenger hunt that they give you at the beginning, to where you have certain things that you have to look for and then you can mark them off. So if you have your family with you, you could do a little competition where you go through there and, you know, see who comes out on top. Last time that I went there, I actually went with my wife for her first time, and obviously I was able to beat her having been there before. Another garden that they have that's just open to the public is there's an Australian garden that's obviously based off of Australia. It's not too far from the Japanese garden. Everything here is within walking distance, so nothing you see today, don't ever think, oh, I have to go here and then the next day I'll go here. All of this, if you plan it out right and you get up early enough, you can do every single thing in one day.
Honestly, guys, this is probably one of the biggest trees I've ever seen in my life. It's an Australian fig tree that they planted here in 1915. Look how big this thing is. And it still bears fruit too.
Just so you get some perspective on it, look at this. It's enormous. If we could get a little closer and have somebody standing directly next to it, you would see, but this is a really wide tree, easily wider than a car at the base.
Something you definitely shouldn't miss when you come to Balboa Park is the international cottage section. So they have different houses from 34 different countries, and each house represents a different country. And the people who work in them are usually in some way related or affiliated with that country. So when I went, the House of Finland had a Finnish woman working there, and she, you know, and she tells you about her country and her culture. They'll usually have food, or in the case of the House of England, they had tea and crumpets for you to sample. The House of Israel usually always has the best food, I think.
Take it off, come on in. And you can make me famous. Come on in, okay. So, what are we going to talk about if we don't talk about politics, religion, and sex? Here, come here, sir. Sir, come in.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a veteran. Okay, what's your name?
Justin.
Justin, this just in. And you are?
Lane.
Lane?
Yeah.
Don't lane with me. What are you, 6'1", 225? No. Yes, just say yes.
Yes.
Okay, what's your heritage?
English.
English? Do you speak English with a Spanish accent?
No.
No? You're from England?
No.
No, it's not England. Okay, his heritage is from England. England has been around for how many years? 600? The monarchy? Thousands of years, right? Oh, what about China? How old is Israel? He's not joking, he's afraid. Gavin, בוא לרגע, ברצינות, בוא לפה שנייה.
I'm on the meter.
Come. Stand. What is this? What is this? בירושלים, איזה מגדל?
מגדל דוד.
מגדל דוד, the Tower of David. Can someone guess? You get 2 points, another there. The Tower of David. Can someone guess how old the Tower of David is? Quickly, come on,
How
guess.
old it is?
Not you. Guess. Gavin, כמה שנים? 2000. He says 2001. That's $5. 5 shekels. Okay, more than 2,000. Guess.
3,000.
1,000 BC. That's 3,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good. BC, it's smart. Okay, so we have BC, which actually is BCE, before the Common Era. Okay, and then we have AD or AC. Okay, after death, before death. If you worship wherever you worship, we respect that. Let's talk about the startup nation, okay? We already know that Israel, per capita, has more startup companies than any other country in the world. You need to ask me, Navy sailor, why? Say why.
I'm not answering that.
Okay, 2 points, you have to put $4 in the pot. So the question is why, señorita, you're on the phone?
No.
Okay, I can't see you. You're hiding behind your son. Tommy can't figure.
Room.
No need room. I control the floor. What's your name?
Nicole.
Nicole? Okay, ask me, why are there more startup companies in Israel than any other country in the world?
Why?
Okay, good question. 2 points. How many people live in the United States of America? Approximately. Very good. 2 points. For every point, you get $2 in the pot. Every one answers 5. If you don't participate, it's 50. I talk fast, but I read very, very slow. When I got this book a few years ago, I put it on my doorstep, and I didn't read it. Then I started, I didn't stop. Okay? You can most probably get it on Amazon for $10, $15. You can most probably, if you speak to an Israeli, he'll teach you how to get it for free. Okay.
What do you think your favorite food is?
I definitely have a preference for the Chinese and their dumplings. They have dumplings that they serve in the House of China that I really, really like. I honestly, and I don't say this lightly, and I'm not saying this for the video, I really do think those are the best dumplings that I've ever had in San Diego.
Wow. So they just added 7 new non-European houses. And unfortunately, as of this point, of the 34 houses that they have, they don't have any African houses. So if you want to make that happen, if you live in San Diego, it's a volunteer-based system, so you have to create a community and have it to where it would take care of a house. So let's get a house in Nigeria.
Yeah, I'd love to see a house in Nigeria, Somalia, or Ethiopia, because there's communities from all those places out here.
Yeah, San Diego is very diverse. We really need some African houses in the international cottages. So the cottages are open on Saturdays and Sundays. Sundays being their busiest days, which they'll usually always have food on Sundays. And not every Sunday, but some Sundays, they'll have lawn parties where one of the countries will set up a cultural experience, whether it be food, music, dance, and they'll allow you to partake in the culture. They'll give you some of the food. It's all free. This isn't every Sunday, but if you want to find out the schedule of the lawn parties, you can go on thehouseofpacificrelations.org to see a schedule of what Sundays they're going to be holding lawn parties.
Another one of the really cool things that you can do here, especially if you're bringing your kids, because this is a very family-friendly park, is there's lots of different types of museums. No matter what sort of niche interest you might have, they definitely have it here. They have museums that range from places where you can go and see fossils or replicas of old and extinct animals, to ones that will show you Mayan history, to ones that may have spaceships, to World War II fighter aircraft, and everything in between. There's also a place here that is a science museum that you can go to and bring your children, and they can play around. It'll have little interactive exhibits that they can go into, where they can do things like experiment with electricity, or within a confined exhibit, obviously. But they can do things like tap on a Morse code thing, and they have those things that catch sound and echoes it across the room for you. and lots of other small things like that. When I come here, my personal favorite museum is the Air and Space Museum, but I'm more of like a history guy, like military history guy. So I like to go back there and head straight to the back to the World War II area, where they have lots of different aircraft that they've exhibited from all sides of World War II. All right, they've got the most iconic planes, I'd say, of World War II right here, including the P-51 Mustang, fitted out with the red tail of the Tuskegee Airmen. So I don't know if you guys ever watched the movie Red Tails, but they have it, and this P-51 is painted to look like that. Then over here, you got the iconic British Spitfire, and if you're English, you know this. It's like your guys' bread and butter. You had the Spitfire and the Hurricane, but obviously the Spitfire is the sexier of the two. Then we have some US aircraft from the Pacific Theater. The Japanese, I'd assume that's a Zero, but I couldn't say definitively. And then I was looking for it and I just found it right now. Right there hanging from the roof, you have Germany's mainstay fighter, the BF or ME-109. That saw service with the Germans from beginning to end of the entire war. Here in this little courtyard, right next to the heart of Balboa Park, you actually have a few different places. You have the Air and Space Museum, you have an automotive museum over there, you have a bowling alley, it looks like now, that used to be part of, this used to be a theater, an outdoor theater. There's a gym right here, and right there in that back corner that you can see, you can't see the sign for it, but they're actually building a Comic-Con museum for all the Comic-Cons, which obviously San Diego is famous for. All right guys, so one thing we forgot to mention was there's a lot of trails you can go down here in Balboa Park. If you're ever out here, I definitely recommend coming and checking them out. But I hope you guys like Balboa Park, and if you're in San Diego, I really do think this is one of the places you should come. All right, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.